How do we know we are making a difference? Hi, I'm Tammy. This is my vlog about um, leadership in special education. So I've been taking an AQ course and studying a lot about becoming a leader in special education. I've been fortunate to be um, tapped as a leader right now in special education within my school setting. And there's a lot of things I've learned throughout this course that I've utilized frequently within my job in the last little while. The first thing that I want to talk about is relationship building. Relationship building is the number one most fundamental skill that is required in working as a leader in special education. Um, uh, Especially thinking about what approach that your team is going to take to ensure that all voices are heard. And that includes families and students whose English is not their first language, who maybe uh, who don't have an ability to speak, um, or don't have um, like background knowledge or experiences that they might need support in communicating with you. So so it's really important that we're thinking about how we're inviting and making sure that all voices are heard. And a way that we've done it at my school that we've been working through is to make sure that there are multiple ways to share thoughts. For example, we have student town halls where an outside person comes in and listens to the student voice. We have Google Forms where they can provide it in written format, or we also have a lot of interviews that happen with students so we can gather their voice or their thoughts about their learning. Um, Along with relationships, it'll be a paramount part that you collaborate and work with all the people that have different expertise in order to support a student. So I talked a lot about like shared leadership, that model that there isn't one person who's the information keeper or the person who um, really holds all the information, making sure that it's very transparent in terms of documentation and that more people who know um, the story of a child, the more people that can support them. So we work a lot on, my team is all about relationships. We talk families multiple times in preparation for any kind of IEP, IPRC, transition to a new placement. We are in constant contact. So that relationship kind of lays the foundation and makes sure that everybody's voice is heard and that there's like a shared leadership model. Um, the other piece that I would say around leadership, professional learning is important, but um, part of that professional learning is really knowing the documentation, policies, procedures that surround special education. As I can see that when you know a lot of that information, that's when the best advocacy can happen for students to get what they need. You know who to ask, or you know what policy to refer to when you're trying to make sure that supports are in place for students, and that having somebody within a school setting who knows a lot of that information, you can support a broader staff very quickly in what's the next step, or what avenues can we go down when a teacher within a classroom setting is seeing a student who maybe needs some form of support. Um, and part of both the relationships and building on that professional knowledge is a strong sense of communication. As I mentioned before, we're in constant communication, but it's been very important that communication has been kind of multi-pronged, um, that we look at a variety of ways that we can communicate with all those, with a plethora of people that support our students through written, through phone. Um, And we have a lot of bilingual people on our staff, and we also have people who um, on my team who can sometimes guide the conversation around cultural sensitivities that or provide some perspective that really helps me when I'm going to communicate with parents. So, and the other piece that I'll say around communication that I've really, I think, altered throughout this course for me, that's had a big impact on me is just around my listening approach with parents. I know it's highlighted in the course about RASA as a kind of a acronym for how you can really do a lot more listening before you're adding to a conversation. And I can say that's changed my approach with the multitude of conversations that I have. Spend a lot of time listening, reaffirming or restating what I've heard to make sure that, yeah, I'm being a successful leader within the building. And finally, I'll just say that the at the end that we're all there to support students, and they're at the center of all of our decisions. Their voice, their ideas, their thoughts are at the center of everything that we do, and that really grounds most of the conversations that we have in my building. And that's the leadership in special education.